Hi, it's Wednesday evening, and that means that it is time for Q&A Wednesday. It's the time where I take questions that a lot of my clients or people that hop onto Facebook ask, and I answer those questions, and hopefully I answer them in a way that educates you and also takes some of those gimmicks and those misconceptions, the myths, and some of the garbage that we hear, throughout the fitness world, and gives you some real answers that have a lot to do more with science versus gimmicks and all the garbage that we see all over the place. I do get really frustrated with some of the same questions that are being asked over and over and over again from clients and from prospective clients, and even just from random people on Facebook. And it's a lot of misconceptions where it's like, well, I heard that this is the best product to use for this, and really what we're trying to do is I want you to really, if you're going to put your time and energy into a healthy lifestyle, I want you to get something out of it. I want you to be efficient. It's kind of the biggest bang for your buck. If you're going to spend time, you're going to spend energy, and if you're going to invest in yourself at all, why not get everything that you want out of it? And not only that, but don't you want to get there and stay there? You can do a lot of things. There's a lot of ideas out there right now, a lot of diets that might give you some quick success, but they're not going to give you what you're looking for in the long term. I don't know anybody that said, hey, you know what, I want to get really physically fit, and then I want to go back to exactly how I feel right now, which is unhappy, unhealthy, unfit. I don't feel good. I don't know anybody who feels like that. There are a few times where diets are appropriate. If you have a very short-term goal and you realize that's what it's for. Other than that, it's really about living the lifestyle. So tonight's Q&A came from, I get a lot of inquiries from people looking for a trainer, and sometimes the response when I tell them like what I charge or what my goals are is, well, I'm looking for the cheapest option, or I'm looking for something a little bit different, which is just fine. I'm very aware that as a trainer and a health coach that I am not for everybody, and I'm going to tell you why tonight. I've actually had people that have walked away after working with me and really not feeling like they got what they needed out of it. But I think sometimes it's because there's an unrealistic expectation of where they're going to get in a matter of a month or 6 weeks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I feel like I'm completely unique and why I love what I do. I've had a really great week. It's been really interesting. I'm not going to lie. I love the weather. It's gotten extremely nice outside. I love when I don't have to wear a jacket. So I'm pretty excited to walk outside and go, oh, this is great. I'm not freezing for once. But anyhow, so please, if you have questions, comments, concerns, pop up. I'm seeing everybody pop up on there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night. It's hump day. So really quickly, when people are looking for a trainer, when I very first started my foray into becoming a healthier person, I really needed some guidance. Everything that I know now is kind of a culmination of having experienced it myself, a lot of education. I'm really into educating myself, doing a lot of research, because I don't want to know what's the popular way. I want to know what's the right way and the way that works. And it might not be the popular way, which again, sometimes makes me unpopular. Don't really care because, I know that the people that I work with are going to get long-term results. They're going to learn a lot more than the garbage that we see on TV. All the diets and spending thousands and thousands of dollars in supplements that do you absolutely no good. So, I am a little bit different than the average trainer. At this point, I work with people. I really like it when people are to the point where they're kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired, because they're ready to listen. They're not looking for a quick gimmick or a diet that's going to get them there really quickly. I'm looking for somebody who's really willing to be educated on how their body works, about listening to their body. That is so important. It's unfortunate that most people don't really listen to what their body has to say until they're either injured or, really finally getting into a point in their life where they want to be healthy. I'm also really, really, being popular doesn't bother you. If you think that I'm popular, thank you. That is a compliment, but working on the popularity part. But sorry, now I'm totally off track because I am reading what people say there. Okay, somebody hop on and tell me what I just said. See, I'm normal. I forget stuff all the time. Anyhow, so what I do as a trainer is I really am trying to educate people on how to live a healthy lifestyle, partially because I've been there. I know what I'm saying. So, when somebody comes to me and they say, I just want the training portion of it. I don't want to talk about diet and nutrition, can you charge me less because I don't want to work with that. I just want to work with the physical part of it. Or we don't need to talk about mental or emotional health because I'm not in a position where that matters. You know what? I call crap on that because it all is interrelated. And no, I will not divide up what I do because I've worked with people long enough to know that, you can exercise from experience. You can exercise and exercise and exercise. And if you don't adjust your nutrition, you will not reach your goals. Nutrition plays a huge role in it. Not only that, but mental and emotional health is critical to get where you want to go. So if you are, I get a lot of people that come to me with, help me fix my body so I can fix my head. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It doesn't work in that order. You have to technically fix your head to fix your body. Your body listens to you. Your subconscious listens to you. So there's a huge role that plays there. And if you don't address that, you will not be able to reach your ultimate goal, right? And of course, everybody's goals are a little bit different. So the first thing that I will tell you that one of the reasons why I'm different is I don't have a cookie cutter approach to what I do. Everybody's different. I realize that everybody's different. And I don't work with just one type of person. I don't just work with athletes. Not that I don't enjoy that, because I really do. I'm really getting to the point where, as a coach of bikini and figure competitors, I really enjoy that. I'm really starting to kind of come into my own, have a lot of experience, and figure out the best way to coach. But that's not the primary person that I work with. I do work with a lot of people who literally have no idea how to be healthy, how to get where they want to go, how to exercise even, or that there's different types of exercise or different approaches, and that maybe the one that they're working with is not the most efficient one for whatever their goal is. So I don't cookie cutter anything. When I work with someone, the first thing that I do is I sit down with them. I do what I call a goal assessment. And honestly, yes, I'm finding out about what their goals are. They're checking to see if I'm somebody that they would like to work with. But to be honest, one of the biggest things I'm doing in that goal assessment is figuring out if there's somebody who's going to listen to what I say and actually, allow me to coach them. Because, I can tell you what to do, but if people are going to argue with me and go do what they want to anyway, they might as well save their money because there's no benefit there, right? And if you don't think I know what I'm talking about, hopefully you at least realize that I live the lifestyle. So, yeah, I know I'm getting really lean, guys. There is something behind that, but I am not going to tell you what that is right now. So, I do know from experience how to get where I want to go, and I do live the lifestyle. I walk the walk, talk the talk, whatever you want to call it. I do. I would never tell somebody to do what I'm not willing to do myself. So, I don't cookie cutter. I very much realize that someone who has 100 pounds to lose is going to have to do an entirely different approach than someone who is, ready to jump into their first competition. So, and I love that. I love the challenge of it. I'm also somebody who is going to tell people if I don't have the answer, I don't know everything. I do know quite a bit at this point. I do a good portion of part of its experience. I've lived the lifestyle myself. I've been obese. I know that surprises some people, but if you have followed me at all, you realize that I've been there. I know what the obstacles are, and I'm not saying that I don't have those obstacles anymore. I've just learned healthier ways to deal with it. I no longer eat my feelings on a regular basis. Growing up with a really unhealthy relationship with food, it was really a huge struggle. I've done the yo-yo dieting. I've been, just to the position where, I do the guilt cycle. I binge because it makes me feel good briefly, and then I feel horrible because, of course, I've just completely undone my goal and I have no willpower, and I've been there. I've been that cycle. And just because I'm healthy and fit doesn't mean I'm immune to it. It just, like I said, it means that I've come up with a better approach and a better way to deal with stress. And I think a huge opinion here, Melissa on a soapbox, I really think that that's what our country is really lacking at this point. I think that we are not teaching our children coping skills, so we're just perpetuating the issues that we currently have, and that's showing up in really unhealthy ways, and not just in our obesity epidemic, although that's huge. It's showing up in a lot of negative, tragic ways. So, obviously that's something that needs to be addressed. But for most of us, I really, at 43 years old, I'm really appalled at how the majority of people my age are taking care of themselves. Very, very little self-care. and not saying that I've got it all down, but I'm realizing that it's an issue. And for me, I'm working very, very hard on making sure that I take good care of myself. So let's see. Joe says, how do you work with someone recovering from an injury? First of all, I have to learn about the injury. If it's one I haven't dealt with before, I have no problem going to other professionals and learning about that injury, just because I never want to hurt my people. Making sure that I'm doing the best of my job to help rehabilitate them if they haven't done any PT or physical therapy. Sometimes my job as a coach is to recommend. I might have to take a step back and say, I'm not ready to work with that. You're not ready for a regular trainer. You need someone who has specifically worked with whatever that injury is. Although I've worked with plenty of injuries, knee replacements, shoulder issues. As long as I learn about it, I know how to best work with it. I have no problem working in tandem with someone's doctor, their physical therapist, their chiropractor, as long as I have permission. I'll go to appointments if necessary. I've done that before, and it's been very enlightening to me. Had a client once where we thought that he had a substantial knee issue, and when I attended his physical therapy appointment, we came to find out that it wasn't the knee that was the problem, it was the hamstrings were so overly tight that it was causing knee issues. And so when we figured that out, we were able to approach it in a completely different way. How do you advise someone that's very lazy? That's an interesting one. Flat out won't work with someone who's not willing to do the work. Because you have to be willing to take the time and the energy. And although I love people and I absolutely want the best for them, if somebody's there and I feel like they're going to absolutely waste my time, I won't take them on as a client. That might sound counterproductive, but there's no benefit to me. As a trainer, I want to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I love people. I love people till they prove to me that I shouldn't. And I don't, there's other people who want my time. There are times when I have waiting lists, and if someone's not going to do what I tell them to, or they're not willing to put forth the effort or the work, I don't want them to have my time. I'm going to give that time to someone else, because that's why I'm there. I do what I do because at some point, after, spending most of my adult life unhappy and unhealthy, being obese, 210 pounds on a 5'3" frame is pretty unhealthy. I want to help other people. I got to the point after hitting a point, I was able to get to a point where I felt like I knew enough that I could help other people. And I figured if I could do it, because to be honest, whoever thought that I could have a six pack, that was the furthest thing from my mind. I never registered in my head that I would be an inspiration to other people. I just was sick and tired of being sick and tired. 46% body fat, really struggling to figure out why I got to that point. I want to help other people. That's what I do. And I get so frustrated with the media and the information that is passed on through social media and through TV. It's all crap. It's all BS. And it's with today's technology and the information that we have and the ability that we have to do research, how we're perpetuating all the garbage. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So my job is to teach you how it really is and to help people who really want to get there kind of avoid those pitfalls and those negative, the negative information or the information that is not correct. I want to teach you the right way to do it because it's not an overnight success. You cannot undo 3-4 decades worth of bad habits, eating a lot of junk and garbage and processed food in 3 or 4 weeks. It's not only is it not possible, it's not healthy. So, we're trying to teach you a way to do it because it's not how quickly you take it off. It's how long can you keep it off. That's my goal. So, I think the biggest thing for me is that I don't play into any quick fixes. I don't do a 30-day cleanse or 30-day flat stomach or you guys, that's garbage. You know what? Yeah, you can have a flat stomach, but it's going to take you longer than 30 days, especially if you've been eating, a lot of processed food. There's a very, lengthy process that your body's going to take to cleanse that kind of stuff out of your system because, of course, what is the storage unit of your body? It is fat cells. So everything that you've eaten for the past however many decades can still reside in some of those fat cells, including toxins. So don't think that, you're going to be able to cleanse those out in 30 days. It does not happen. It takes years. As a matter of fact, I would tell you that it took, because, it takes about 7 years for your body to be a complete whole new set of cells. Your body reproduces cells all the time, renews them, builds new cells. It takes about 7 years to be a whole complete new set of cells. That's about how long it took for me to feel like I'm now a complete, what's the word I'm trying to say? I'm really a completely different person. I don't have a lot of those toxins left in my body. I've been able to cleanse those out. I've been able to live a healthy lifestyle long enough that some of those repercussions, and I still have, a little bit of excess skin in some places and some things to work on. But for the most part, I've become a fit person overall. So I'm really about no quick fixes. I'm about long-term solutions, and about doing what it takes to get there for the rest of your life. That's what it's about. The other thing is I'm very honest as a trainer. I'm not going to play into, yeah, you can do that in, 5 minutes. I'm just not going to play into that. I'm very supportive. You can ask any of my clients. I am their biggest fan. I'm there for them. I'm going to support them when they fall down, because we all fall down, guys. There's no perfection in any of our goals. But I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to tell you, yeah, just eat that pizza because you can take a fat burner tomorrow and work it off. Doesn't work that way. More likely, I'm probably going to be the one to tell you it doesn't work that way, and you're going to have to pick up some better habits. I've worked with a lot of people over the last 7-8 years, and it's kind of funny. Some of the things that I figure out, I'm very aware that not everybody tells me everything. I usually figure it out. I know when somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to be. Every once in a while I get stumped, and then I usually consult a mentor or somebody in a different profession or that might have a little bit more information on that subject. But for the most part, I've had a little bit of experience. I'm not the perfect trainer for everybody. I'm going to talk about that before I'm done. But if you come to me and say you want to learn how to do powerlifting, I'm going to give you some names, because that is not my expertise, right? I'm really about realistic timelines. If somebody wants to compete and they come to me at 30% body fat, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a couple of years. It's really difficult for you to go to the next level if you don't have the basics down. You really got to kind of figure out that lifestyle, because competing is not a healthy option overall. Like, it's pretty intense. And it doesn't matter what type of competition we're talking about. You're doing things in a little bit of an extreme way, and you need to be prepared for that. So if you don't have the basics down, just eating well on a regular basis, of exercising on a regular basis and consistently, then going to that next level is not a realistic approach for you. Okay, how can a mother find the time for kids and also housework and training? It's not called balance, it's called harmony. I heard somebody call it that not very long ago, and I think that's extremely the right word to call it, because you know what? Life is never going to be in perfect balance. You're never going to arrive at a perfect balance. Sometimes you just have to be really creative. I've been through all stages of my life. My kids are older at this point. I've got adult children. I'm not going to tell you that it's any easier, because it's so crazy. And not to mention, they're all expensive when they get older. I've got one in college. Holy moly. Sometimes number one, you have to make yourself a priority. You just do. And whether you're working out at home, or carving out some time, or finding a gym that has daycare, what's wrong with that? That is a great opportunity. I run 2 businesses. I do paperwork for 4 businesses. I'm insane. And do I do it all well? Probably not. I'm not Superwoman. I like to pretend I am, but I'm not. There are times where I have to let something go. I have to really figure out what my priorities are. Obviously, I make myself the priority, because my goals are bigger than my obstacles. So that has to be, if you look at your planner and you look at your timeline, everybody has the same 24 hours a day. It's what you do with it that's important. So, I've known people who have a gaggle of kids. I had 5. That's a gaggle, right? And they still get it done. You might have to give up things like TV. Honestly, I don't get naps anymore. I'm too busy for naps. I don't watch a lot of TV. If there's something I really want to see, I DVR it, so that when I do take a little bit of time off, or I pick a day to rest, I can watch the things that I saved on. It's usually the cooking channel. Don't ask me why. But I have given up some stuff in my life. I don't go out and drink all the time. I've just given some things up, because these are the things that are important to me. And so I think that's what it's going to take, is making yourself a priority is a big part of it. But I am a mother, so that does give me that background of knowing what it takes to balance balance, make that lifestyle harmony. So the other thing that I think I really pride myself in is that when I work with someone, I really care. Like, I really do. I'm willing to be a therapist to some level because I understand that there are some things we're going to have to work with. I know some trainers who actually quit training because they didn't like that part of it. They didn't like the emotional part of it. But I think that in this, it's kind of like being a hairdresser where you're talking about a lot, or a bartender. You hear a lot about people's problems. I think that to find out why people are where they are or what they're dealing with, that's just part of it. You have to be, not that you have to take those intrinsically, but I have to be able to know how to work with that. If they've got some stress in their life that's really causing them to struggle with certain things that might hinder their goals, we got to work with that. We got to problem solve. So, you can't ever say that I didn't care. Like, I might not have solved all their issues. Sometimes it's because I don't know, because maybe they didn't open up, or again, maybe they're not telling me everything. And I'm not perfect. Not gonna lie, not perfect. I don't proclaim to be. I don't even proclaim to tell you that I know everything, because I just don't. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to listen. I am very teachable when it comes to, I'm pretty much constantly reading. I am certified in nutrition, and I'm still taking a whole nother course on it because I find it fascinating. And if I can learn anything from it, I'm willing to learn, because sometimes I catch things I've never heard before that make absolute sense. So I love that part of it. But my goal for my clients is to do what's best for them. And again, I'm always their biggest fan. It's more exciting for me to watch them succeed than for me to win any competition or anything like that. So I also believe, as a trainer and a coach, that it's okay to fail. It's not okay to stay down. It's not okay to give up, but it's okay to fall down, because that's part of life. Somewhere we all got taught in school, probably, that failing was bad, and that, we were punished for it. And unfortunately, that's not how life works. If we can learn from it, we can use it for a stepping stone. That's going to push us forward, the fail forward, find a way that works. And maybe we just needed to learn something from it, which, that's an incredible way to grow. You can't grow if you don't go through the hard stuff. So that's really important. Can someone find the balance between martial arts and bodybuilding? Yes, if your seasons don't overlap. Different sports and different goals are going to require a different tactic, a different lineup of exercises, such as, if you want to run a marathon and you want to bodybuild, not going to happen within the same realm, not going to happen within the same time frame. In order to run long distances, you need to be light, right? You can't have that excess weight, which comes with muscle. So to build size and to run is very, very difficult. Even things like, football players, they need to have power, which is a little different than just building size and just building strength. They actually need a whole other element, which is the power. So again, you might as well pick one thing and do it well than to try and balance in between all of those different things, because otherwise you're just going to be mediocre at everything, right? Then again, if knowing how to do a little bit of each thing and you don't have to be the best at it is your goal, that might be an option. So keep that in mind. The other reason why I think that I'm a little different than the average trainer is that because I've been there. I've been at both ends of the spectrum. I've been really unhealthy, trying all the gimmicks and the diets and the pills and all of that kind of garbage. And then I've been to the healthy spectrum, where I am now an athlete. I still retain as such, even when I'm not competing, because I like how I feel. I like how I look. I'm just going to tell you, when I have a cheat meal at this point, my body is so unhappy. So, I know both ends of it. I'm not some little thing that's never been through any experiences, telling someone who's overweight and struggling and really dealing with some stress in their life. I'm old enough to have some experience and some wisdom, and I've been through some of it. So like I said, I don't know everything. I haven't had every experience, but either I've worked with someone or I know somebody who's been through it. So at least I can come into it with a knowledge of, we can work with it. We can find a way to do it. I'm very interested in helping people get where they want to go. Plus, I think people who've never had bad habits really don't understand the element of the mental that is required to get through it. Even things like I had someone tell me once that, the first time she looked in the mirror after dropping, quite a bit of weight, she didn't recognize herself. And that was a huge struggle all in itself because she didn't look like the same person. And you'd be surprised that's disconcerting. So, that can be something interesting to overcome. I'm certified. I've been certified through the National Association of Sports Medicine for the last 6 years. I'm certified also through them for nutrition. I'm taking a separate certification or a separate course for nutrition. And plus, I love to learn. I don't necessarily want to do it on a college basis just because I find that sometimes it's so broad and it's a lot of information that doesn't mean much. I would rather research and learn the things that apply exactly to what I'm trying to do with my clients. And sometimes that's a physical aspect of it, learning new exercises, new ways to do things. Sometimes it's the emotional part of it. I've done a ton of research recently on hormones and how that plays a role in our ability to, lose weight, gain weight, those kind of things. Because as we get older, our hormones change. That's part of life. So, I do a lot of that kind of research because I find it very appropriate to what my people are going through. So, the other thing is, I'm actually a former school teacher. My education was in elementary education. I have a bachelor's of science in elementary education. And so I taught for several years before I became a trainer. Is swimming a good sport to improve muscles? Yeah, hold on to that for a second. I know those are great questions, but let me finish this and I'll come back to that just so I don't forget what I'm talking about. But as a teacher, I really enjoy. I've always wanted to know why. Like when my coach or somebody tells me this is what you need to do, my first question is why. And it's not because I want to argue. It's not because I'm trying to be obnoxious. I want to know why because A, I'm probably more likely to follow what you tell me to do. And B, I want it to make sense. To me, it's interesting. So that's my approach to working with people is, the whole, if you teach a man to fish, I want them to not only do well when I'm working with them, but when they get on their own, hopefully I've coached them to the point where they can still be motivated to go to the gym and, get their workouts in and eat well. And they know why, because I think that's a huge part of it. If they understand why, they'll stick with it. So, being an educator, that's kind of my goal. Like I said, I feel like if they know how to continue, even when they're done working with me, then I've done my job. Versus just train. And not that I can't do that. I've had people that have been with me for several years, off and on or whatever, and they love it because it's like when they come back to me, their goal, I know Melissa can still kick my butt. So, I enjoy that part of it as well. So, again, as a trainer, I am not for everyone. I'm not. I have turned people away. I've had people walk in and make demands and I'm going, nah, we're not going to get along. Again, I'd rather it be a collaboration, good communication. I don't argue with people ever, at least not in a way that, I'm just not going to waste my time. If you don't believe that I have something for you, then don't come to me in the first place because I think it's interesting. People say, okay, so I need to eat this way and I need to eat more calories. That's just weird. Well, I heard that. And I'm like, and how is that working for you? I work by scientific principles. Like I said, I work with science and the book smarts of it. A lot of it's experience, and then I take a healthy dose of common sense, which apparently nobody has these days, to see what makes sense. Yeah, there's such thing as bro science. That's kind of the experience part of it. But it all has to make sense scientifically. Your body has to respond that way. There is a lot of research, and yes, there's a lot of conflicting information, but if you do enough research, usually you can figure it out. So again, I won't work with everybody. They have to be in a position where they're ready to listen. And I'm also not a fan of, like I said, quick goals. Again, it's a little different to say, hey, you know what? I just need to, I'd like to drop 5 pounds before I go on vacation with my family so I can wear a bikini. That's fine. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days because I'm going to be in somebody's wedding, I'm going, fantastic. Not really. No, not going to do that with you, because again, it really has to be a foundation of health and fitness. That short-term goal has to make sense. It has to be realistic. I'm not going to work with someone who is going to do some drastic things that get them in an unhealthy place just for a short-term result. That just doesn't make sense for me. So I'm not a fan of diets in general. Like I said, there's a time and a place for that, but for the average person, they have to have that foundation first. They have to have that lifestyle under control. Coming up with an extreme goal or taking on that really next level challenge is not sustainable. It's not doable. It's not smart if you don't have the basics under control. So I'm also not a fan of the scale. Those of you that know me know that, because honestly, you could be seeing results, and if you let that scale determine your attitude and your mood and your sense of accomplishment, you could have dropped 3 pant sizes and still be devastated, and that makes 0 sense, right? The scale does not give you enough information. So, I go off of other things. There are things that have to be measurable, but the scale is just one tool. And the only time I really truly use that is in order to figure out body fat percentage. So, if that's the only thing that people go off of, they're not going to do very well with me. I don't babysit. I don't. I still work with someone who really helps me to build my social media. And I just found it fascinating that one of the things that he would talk about pretty frequently was, well, why don't you just charge more if they want like way more, attention? And I'm like, because I don't want to. I can't go home with people and knock a donut out of their hand. That's not my job. We're all adults. And, I still know that people are going to do stuff I don't know about. There's no benefit for me to seriously chase people around and figure that out. I don't want to have to catch them doing stuff. That's not my goal. Again, we're all adults. I am a coach, not a babysitter. So, and I've had people, I've had clients that I know they're doing stuff they're not supposed to because it's popping up on Facebook. And I didn't stalk them. They're the one that friend requested me, and it's just popping up on my feed. That's their responsibility. My job is to help coach them, help teach them, push them when it's necessary, cheer for them, be part of their lives until they're ready to do it on their own. And even once they're no longer working with me, I love hearing about where they're going, their success. I've seen multiple people that after, I've worked with them for a little or even a long time, maybe they found the next thing that works for them. I've had a client that really found his groove in CrossFit. Rock on. Not my gig, but if that's what motivates him and gets him where he needs to go, so happy and so excited to hear about that, because I want to know that they're continuing to see success. I think they think that, that's just my past. I'm still cheering for you. Even if you're not part of, if I'm not working with you anymore, I love that part of it. So, and again, I'm not perfect. I'm just not. Wow, what an interesting place that would be if we all were, but I think we'd all be kind of boring. But, I make mistakes. And so hopefully people understand that, I would never purposely hurt anyone's feelings or do anything that would be derogatory to them, because that's not my goal and that's not my personality. I think sometimes things get taken a little bit incorrectly, especially, communication-wise, but hopefully people understand that I really do have their best interests at heart, but I do make mistakes. So as long as you're okay with a coach who doesn't do everything perfectly, at least you'll know that I'll do my very best, because that's what my goal is. Like I said, I do care enough to do research, pay attention, do the best I can to support them, and really because I do want them to succeed. To me, that's so exciting. Even when the people around you, the closest people to you, are not necessarily always supportive, mostly because people want you to be successful. They just don't want you to be more successful than them. I don't care if you're more successful than I am. I'm truly excited for you. So that's how I'm different than most trainers. Like I said, I do work differently. I do employ multiple avenues of work. I know that just going to the gym isn't going to take care of most people's goals. You do have to get enough sleep, eat well, and eat for that goal, right? It's different if you're trying to put on some size and some muscle. It's completely different than if you're trying to run races, or really you're trying to go from being obese, go to healthy and fit. It's just different. So, keep that in mind, that we have to approach all those things. The exercise is different. And there's a difference between strength training and cardio. So employing a little bit in each of those categories and making sure that you're getting enough in each of those categories, you'll get a better result than trying to just do one angle or one area. So last question, do you work with teenagers? I do work with teenagers as long as they're ready to listen. It's a little different because, of course, for a lot of them, they're still, sorry, I'm very, very warm and my hair is making me hot. They're still growing. Their hormones are a little different than an adult who's done growing. We do have to take that into consideration. But a lot of the things are similar. And of course, if we can teach, kids and teenagers how to live a healthy lifestyle at that age, how much better off will they be as adults than those of us that took till we were in our 30s or even past that to figure out how to eat and live healthy. I mean, that would be great. That is a huge part of, continuing on our legacy in our country, in our lives, in our families is, we want our kids to have a better life than we did. We want to leave a great place and great education and great thoughts and great habits to them. And that's a great way to do it is just through example. And through, I do work with teenagers. Like I said, I'm not going to say it's easy because, of course, no offense, sometimes they're a little lazy. Sometimes they don't want to do the work. But then again, I know some adults that are the same way. So I don't know how that's, too different. There's just a few things that we have to take into consideration to make sure that, we're keeping them as healthy as possible. But if I can teach them the right way from the get-go, that's an awesome way to go. So anyway, hopefully you guys have an incredible evening. There is no Meals with Melissa this Saturday. I will be at the Emerald Cup. No, I'm not competing. I'm actually going to be at a booth. Come find me, say hi. And so that's taking place Friday and Saturday in Bellevue, Washington at the Maidenbauer. It's an incredible bodybuilding show put on by Craig Productions. They do such a great job. Brad and Elaine Craig do an amazing job. It's the biggest bodybuilding show in the Pacific Northwest. It's a lot of fun. And I've got multiple friends competing there. So I'm super excited to see how they do. I'm going to be cheering for them. So that's where I will be Saturday. But next weekend, I got a really good one for you. Not even going to give you hints on this one. If you loved the sugar-free peanut butter cheesecake ice cream, you're going to love the next one. So have an incredible week, you guys. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully you are all healthy and happy. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.